Time for the Roots and Roots Show with your host, Greg Rashid. Bringing you history and music from the Black American diaspora. The goal of this show is to empower you with information that you can then seed and grow within your community. Now, here's your host, Greg Rashid.
Well, I want to say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the universe listening to this program. This is Greg Rashid with another edition of the Root and Root Show. Many of you, and I got to say a special hi to all the folks that are listening in. I got these new fans in India. So I want to say hi to the folks in India as well as the folks in the U.S. But a lot of folks listen at their convenience, not live or anything. But a lot of folks listen every Sunday, 3 p.m. Mountain Time on KUHSdenver.com, created by the legendary, the one and only, the master himself of media, Henry Archuleta. And I want to say hi to all my friends that listen to KUHS in the Colorado region. Hope to be back there at some point whenever these variants go away, but who knows? But I hope to get back there at some point. But right now I am in Bangkok, Thailand, loving it here. And I'm out in the balcony, so you might hear noises in the background. I always tell folks that during this time of day they sell fruit and stuff. So you'll hear people hawking their fruits and wares. So it just makes it cool. Makes it cool to hear that. But as I record this, I'm also, by the time you hear this, I will have already been to a classical music concert here, a performance by the London Symphony and also members of the Thai Symphony, Bangkok Symphony. They're doing Vivaldi's The Four Seasons. And not the Four Seasons of Franklin Valley, but classical music. And it hit me that I have, one of my things is I love jazz music and I love classical music. And I have never done a show on classical music. Over the years, I've played little bits and pieces of classical songs, but never done a show on it. I've been thinking about maybe doing that on a regular basis. I'm thinking about it. But the thing is, because this is the Root and Root Show, people just assume with classical music that it's a bunch of old white Europeans or what, got white wigs on from the Renaissance and playing music that for some people may perceive as boring. But we as African Americans and Africans have a strong presence in classical music. It dates back to the time of Mozart and prior to that, because there was a guy, this is before the actual dawn of what we know as classical music in the 1500s, during Henry VIII in Europe. And there was a guy named John, an African named John, if I'm not mistaken, last name Frank. But if you see there's this poster called Westminster Walk, and he is in it prominently. It's a painting, and he's blowing a trumpet, or with the former trumpet, not the type of trumpet you see now, but a trumpet. And they, reading about it, and they said that he was so loved by Henry VIII and the folks in the British Isles at that time that he's featured in this mosaic twice, unlike other folks in this thing. So you got to check that out. But I want to get to the music here because I want to talk about a number of these performers, these composers that you may not know about, but you're going to learn about today on the Root and Root Show. Starting out with Chevalier, Chevalier, it's easy for me to say, Chevalier de St. George. Now, who is this? He was around during the time of Mozart. He's an African Frenchman, and he was so great that the Royal Palace of Paris had him in. He was the chief composer in Paris, so much so that Mozart came from Vienna to talk to him, and he was trying to get it. Mozart was trying to get his way inside the Paris monarchy, and he was having a hard time doing that. And he, elicited the support of hopefully, of St. George, and he couldn't get in there. And Mozart, they said, became a little jealous. They eventually became friends, but a lot of the music you hear about Mozart, if you're into Mozart, was stuff that was taken from St. George. It's like that's like a story, we continually hear all the time. But I'm going to play right now a piece by St. George. This is a symphony opus number 11, number 1 in D major. So let's hear that on the Root and Root Show. All right. That was a Xavier de St. George and Symphony Opus 11, number 1 in D major. And I know some of you right now, like, who just tuned in, like, wait a minute, what station is this? Greg's not playing any funk or he's not playing any James Brown. He's not playing any rap or go-go music. What's going on? No, I'm getting to roots of music and the roots of classical music as represented by African Americans and Africans in the history of classical music. And just, and you got to understand too that this music is, if you read about a lot of jazz musicians, if you know about jazz musicians, be it Miles Davis, John Coltrane, even gospel performers like Mahalia Jackson, the roots of their music, and they'll, when you read their bios and all, they talk about how they first listened to classical music. They listened to that, and that's where they got their ideas and all. And that's why I'm doing this show today to show you the roots of music from a classical aspect as far as black music. And right now, I'm going to play At the Feet of Jesus. And this is by Florence Price and also Langston Hughes. Now, a lot of folks know Langston Hughes as far as being a poet, essayist, a screenwriter, playwright, etc. But Florence Price, I'm sure a lot of you have never heard of her. But Florence Price, unless you're a classical music buff, but Florence Price was the first African American woman to be recognized as a symphonic composer and the first to have a composition played by a major orchestra in America. And she did a lot of pieces. I could do a whole show on her, but I'm gonna play this one right now, At the Feet of Jesus. And this is Florence Price, with the assistance of Langston Hughes.
At the feet of Jesus, at the feet of Jesus, at the feet of Jesus, sorrow like a sea, Lord, let your mercy come drifting down on me, drifting down on me, drifting down on me. Oh, let your mercy come drifting down, come drifting down At the feet of Jesus, at the feet of Jesus, at the feet of Jesus, at your feet I stand, oh my little Jesus, please reach out your hand, please reach out your hand, please reach out your hand. Oh, my little Jesus, please reach out your hand, please reach out
And that was the composition At the Feet of Jesus by Florence Price with the words by Langston Hughes. And I forgot to mention earlier that on the vocals on it, sound like it's a rapper or something, but the vocalist on there was Dr. Ollie Watts Davis.